first thing we want to do is take a 4x8 sheet of MDF 3/4 inch, and we're going to cut it down to size 48 by 42. We should be left with 2 equal pieces after we cut it down. I use my track saw because this stuff is pretty heavy, but if you don't have that, you can use a circular saw just as well. So we've got our MDF cut in half. We're going to go out to the 2x4 pile, and we're going to cut the ends off of the 2x4. The factory edge just won't do. So we're going to make a beautiful factory edge, and then we're going to measure. We're going to cut 4 at 48. That's 4 foot. And then we're going to cut 6 at 39. Alright, so we got our pieces cut, and we're going to bring them in. We're going to lay the bigger ones along the longer sides, the shorter ones along the sides in between the 2 longer ones. One side is going to get 4 with 2 cross supports down the center, and the other side isn't going to get any down the center. That's going to be the bottom. The side with 4 is going to be the top. That's going to hold our CNC. These are the screws we used. It's Spax, number 8, 2 and 1/2. They are perfect. We don't need to use any pre-drilling. We're going to go ahead and grab a bunch. Then we're going to start on one corner, and we're going to do this by feel. We're going to make sure we're on top of the MDF, and we're going to put in 2 screws on each side, attaching all the corners together, feeling as flat as we can be on that MDF to each other. Basically forming a frame, a box, on top of that MDF square. So here's where I just kind of eyeballed where these 2 cross beams are going to be for the top. It wasn't exactly important that I got them perfectly centered, but eyeballing was good enough for me in this one. If you want to use math, go ahead and use math. So I attach them. We make sure we write bottom on this because we want the top part that was built on the MDF to still be attached to the MDF when we flip it over. So we're headed back over to the bottom side, and we're repeating the process with this platform. Alright, it's time to go ahead and flip it over and make sure that we have it squared on top of the frame. I just did this with my hands. So we're using different ones, Spax 1 3/4. This is perfect for MDF. Again, no pre-drilling. So I went ahead and screwed all the way around, attaching the top MDF to the 2x4 frame. It was about 2 inches, 1.5 inches between each screw. We're going to attach the wheels in the corners, and I'll leave a link in the description below. I got these at Harbor Freight. So we're using panhead screws because the other screws would go right through these little holes, and we're only doing it on 3 sides that are going into the 2x4 below. Not really worried about that 4th hole. If you have a shorter screw, go ahead and use it. If not, it doesn't affect anything. So I just repeated this process in all 4 corners with all 4 wheels. And there we have it. The bottom part is done.
Oh, my knee hurts. My knee hurts, so it won't go that fast.
If you need a cart carrier for your kids, we built a perfect one. So we're going to go ahead and attach the MDF to the top part. Again, we're using the screws we did on the bottom, and we're going about 1.5 inches, 2 inches from each screw. So we have to do the cross beams and attach those. So we're going to look at the sides and find the screws that we put in to attach them. We're going to go ahead and get a straight edge. I used a level, and we're just going to make a line across, and we're going to go ahead and run screws down that line, attaching that cross brace to the MDF top. Now it's time to figure out the height that we need to cut the 2x4s to attach our base to the top. So I wanted it 30. You can see we're at 30. That's the total height. So we need to find out what the length is inside. And to do this, we're going to measure from the floor up to the top part of the MDF for the base. And we're going to take that number and we are going to subtract that from the total length. And that number I came up with is 4 3/4. And then we're going to go over to the top and we're going to have to subtract the top piece of MDF, which should be 3/4. MDF is pretty true, but I'll go ahead and prove to myself that it is 3/4. And I will show you 3/4. So we need to subtract that as well. So now it's time for a little math. So we're taking our overall length of 30 that we want. We're going to subtract the bottom at 4.5 and the top at 3 1/4. And that leaves us with 24 3/4. So we need 4 2x4s at that length. So we're out to the wood pile again and cutting it on the miter saw. And we're going to end up with 4 at 24 3/4. Alright, so we're back in the shop and we are attaching all 4 legs. We're going to do 4 screws in the wide side and 2 in the thin side. And we're going to repeat that process on all 4 sides. And once I get that done, I spin it around and I do 2 from the inside just to give it a little bit more stability. And I repeat that on all 4 sides. So this is what it'll look like when you're finished. You have 4 posts. Now you got to lift the top onto the bottom, which is really heavy and you can't do it by yourself. So you get the neighborhood kids to come over and give you a hand. And I'm just telling them how to hold it. So we go ahead, we grab it, we lift it up, and it was a little bit of a struggle, but we got it perfect. And you got to push those legs kind of into the top. And of course they want to go for a ride, so you stick them on there, spin them around, test it out, it works perfect. Alright guys, so at this point you're assembled. It's totally done. We could, if you wanted to, throw some screws in the sides of the top leg and hold it together, but really, it's so heavy you don't need to unless you're lifting this up somewhere. But I'm going to have my CNC, the Shapeoko, sitting on top, and that's about 80 pounds in itself, if not 100. You can see that I rolled the kids around. These casters are rated for 200 pounds. They're a Harbor Freight special, about $15 for 4 of them. Buy 2 locking, at least 2. That way, when you are have something that shakes, like my CNC, I can lock them and it won't shake it away. And put those on the same side, whatever is closest to you. But that's it for this table. It's finished. Now I'm going to lightly sand the top and then put the CNC on top. So here you have the finished project. The CNC is finally resting on the table we just built. I have it back in the corner in my shop, but if I ever need to get to anything, because we put it on these casters, we can roll it out and move it around. Sometimes you may find that you want to CNC something a lot longer than the CNC can handle, and you have it overhanging. And this table with the casters is a perfect way to do that. All you have to do is roll it out and it can overhang, and when you're finished you can roll it right back. That's why I like the casters on this. Definitely want to lock them when you are not moving it, because the CNC could have a tendency to shake this, and you don't want it to shake. Could throw off your carving, especially on that V carving when it's really, really tiny. So make sure you get at least 2 locking casters. Hopefully this video has helped you with this mobile cart. I made mine specifically for the CNC, but you can size it to anything you'd like. If you like this video, make sure to hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Alright guys, so there you have it. This is the CNC on the... Here you got...